The 6th anniversary banquet. The atmosphere was originally warm and cheerful. On the huge screen, it should have been showing a happy photo of my wife Sophia and I over the past 6 years. Show friends and family the years we have traveled together. However, what I didn't expect. What appeared on the screen was a wedding photo of Sophia and her first love David. Looking at this sudden picture, I was filled with shock and confusion. Before I could recover from this sudden change, Sophia stepped forward quickly, grabbed the microphone from my hand. She smiled. However, he decisively announced to the audience that he welcomed everyone to David's state banquet. An instant. The display screen at the top of the hall had my name scrolling, quickly replaced by David. The guests suddenly whispered to each other, discussed animatedly. Their eyes moved back and forth between me and the wedding photos on the big screen. His eyes were full of doubt and curiosity. And I. It's like being put on a freezing spell. Stood there woodenly. Mind went blank. Married 6 years. I never thought Sophia would take wedding photos with another man without telling me. I never thought she would be at this anniversary banquet that belonged to us. To make such a jaw-dropping move. At this time, David, dressed in a straight white suit, walked gracefully on stage. Go straight towards Sophia. As it happens, Sophia is wearing a white dress today. The two stood together. Like a couple. Very well matched. And I was wearing a black suit. Seem out of place at the moment. It's like I'm the outsider on the occasion. I was just about to question. Sophia suddenly glared at me. Lowered his voice. There was a trace of unquestionable tone in his tone. David is my classmate. Doctor overseas returnees. Use the venue you prepared as a welcome banquet. Enough for you. Don't be stingy. Finished. Then he greeted David with a smile. The two stood on the stage, pointing to the photo on the big screen, talking and laughing. Immerse yourself in memories of the sweet past of your student days. Sophia in front of David. It's like a different person. There was a flash in his eyes. The whole person is full of vitality. He is completely different from the calm and silent man who stands before me. David recalled. I made a casual joke. I asked if you dared to take wedding photos with me. You actually agreed? Oof. Sophia responded that if you dare say it, I will say yes. I stood alone. The sympathetic eyes of the surrounding guests stabbed me like needles. It makes me feel like a thorn in my back. Wait until the two of them finish talking about old times. David then looked at me. There was a faint smile on his face. Mr. James. Thank you for helping me arrange the banquet for my return home. I am satisfied. Except for the music. I heard you used to sing on the street. Why don't you play a song to cheer us all up? Rest assured. Money is not a problem. His tone was soft. There was no respect for me in his eyes. Others see all this in their eyes. She looked at me with more sympathy. I clenched my fists tightly. My heart is full of anger and humiliation. He looked at Sophia with complicated eyes. Once. Sophia is sick. I tried to raise enough medical bills. Running around. Selling cars and houses is still not enough. In desperation, I could only go to the street to sing. Suffering countless cold eyes and ridicule. Even humiliation. This painful experience. It's a scar that I never want to touch in my heart. Unexpectedly, Sophia would use it as a conversation to please David. Sophia noticed my gaze. Raised her eyebrows. Pushed the microphone in front of me. What are you waiting for? David wants to hear it. Just sing. Just sing about when we got married. That song you sang. The song we sang at our wedding. This is a hope for our better future. Now. Should I use it to bless her and David? My heart hurts like it's being torn. David smiled and said, Mr. James. Just singing a song. Why does it seem like I'm bullying you? I said. Money is not a problem. Said. He pretended to take out his wallet. Sophia hurriedly held down his movements. Then he approached me unhappily. Gnashed his teeth in hatred and said. James. Don't embarrass me here. Sing if I ask you to sing. Slow down any longer. Don't ask for this month's living expenses. After marriage. I love Sophia. Give her all the income. Only receive meager living expenses every month. Not expect. Now this has become her way of threatening me to please David. I laughed self-deprecating. Slowly walked to the center of the stage and pick up the microphone. Then I'll sing a song. Wish everyone a good time. Not waiting for backstage to prepare music. I will sing the song Happy Breakup directly. Familiar lyrics sound. Everyone's expressions instantly changed. Sophia immediately interrupted me with a solemn face. James. What are you doing? Who asked you to sing this song? Change A. I ignored her. Dropped the microphone. Walking off the stage without looking back. Sophia's angry voice echoed behind her. James. Stop right there. I said stop. I walked all the way out of the hall. The breeze outside blows on my face. It seems to blow away all the sadness of the past 6 years. I feel more relaxed than I have ever felt before. In fact, before this banquet, I learned that I was the only surviving heir to the richest man James' family is about to inherit huge wealth. I wanted to surprise Sophia at the party. But now it seems that there is no need for it. I'm an orphan. I have experienced hardships since childhood. Sophia was the light that lit up the darkness in my life. I work hard to make money. Just to give her a better life. Until the James family, the richest man in New York, came to me. Tell me I am the bastard son of the James family. About to inherit tens of billions of wealth. I am filled with joy. Can't wait to share the good news with Sophia. I never thought she would trample on my dignity at the banquet like this. Identity documents are required to handle estate transfer. After leaving the banquet, I went straight home. Just as I was about to open the door. Smart door lock prompts fingerprint unlocking failure. The corners of my mouth twitched helplessly. You don't have to think to know that Sophia deleted my fingerprints. When she lost her temper. He used to kick me out of the house. She controls the family's finances. I am not allowed to stay in a hotel without permission. Otherwise, there will be a fuss. So every time we fight, I can only go to a nearby park or under a bridge hole for one night. Wait until she dies. But this time I just came back to get my own things. I don't plan on coming back. I was just about to call Sophia. But I found that the things in the trash can at the door looked familiar. Came closer. It's full of my clothes. In the past, even Sophia was angry. The Cold War will send me home a few days later. This time I was in a hurry to throw out my clothes. Looks like David's return made her completely determined to abandon me. This is also good. I no longer miss it. I remembered that I might be in this pile of clothes. After some digging, really found. I suddenly felt a little relieved. At least I don't have to deal with Sophia too much anymore. Before leaving, I took everything that belonged to me. He only left the pendant around his neck at the door. Sophia was sick. I work 5 jobs a day. Dare not slack off at all. I almost got hit by a car while delivering takeout. Later, she claimed that she went to the temple and asked for a safe pendant for me. First, keep me safe. The second is to hope that our relationship will last long. She also told me, without her permission, never take it off. I was so moved. Wear it when you sleep and take a bath. Nowadays, the ropes are worn out. This pendant is the only thing that doesn't belong to me. I gave it back to Sophia. After everything is ready, I made a phone call. Soon, the luxury motorcade came to the roadside to pick me up. Mr. James, this is the list of the family assets you will inherit. You please have a look. The legacy of the James family is far beyond my imagination. A rough estimate of cash is more than 10 billion. There are still many assets to be evaluated. Evening. I'm lying next to a private swimming pool in a top-rich neighborhood. Cell phone suddenly sounded. It's Sophia. Soon as the call was connected, it was her familiar indifferent tone. James. You really have a hard wing. He still hasn't taken the initiative to find me. I took my mobile phone and took the towel from my assistant. Dry your hair and ask if there is anything else you need. She already met David. Still thinking about me. But I know in my heart, she doesn't care about me. Just getting used to my humble obedience to her. Now I don't ask her. Made her feel out of control. Sophia's voice froze. I didn't seem to expect me to be so cold. Said in an increasingly cold tone. You left the pendant at the door. Didn't I say? Without my permission. Are you not allowed to take it off? Her tone was aggressive. Give you 10 minutes. Get your ass back here now. Or I'll throw this pendant away. Sophia always knew I valued the pendant like a treasure. That's why he dared to threaten me with this. But now I'm no longer the person she used to handle. I responded calmly and said, as you please. Sophia obviously couldn't believe her ears. What did you say? Throw it away. I continued to say coldly. You bought this pendant at a roadside stall. Isn't it? Sophia on the other end of the phone fell silent. Sophia didn't refute me immediately for the first time. Sophia came home drunk once. I let it slip while on the phone with my best friend. James is so stupid. I just spent 9.9 yuan on a pendant at a roadside stall. I lied to him and said I went to the temple to ask for it. Bless him. And he really believed it. Why did I marry such a stupid man? He will believe everything I say. Poor man. I just don't know what's good. Give me some sunshine and it will shine brightly. I smoked all night that night, trying to convince myself. Sophia gave me a gift. It means that I am in my heart. Wherever the pendant came from, it was her intention. Until today at the banquet, she trampled on my dignity for David. Only then did I fully realize my stupidity. Maybe I exposed it. Sophia said angrily. Even if you buy it on the roadside. What now? I'll give you a gift. Already very good. You can't tell good from bad anyway. Then he hung up the phone. Facing her unreasonable behavior, I no longer struggle. At this time, Assistant Lou reminded me. The divorce lawyer he had asked him to call before has arrived. Now that I've decided to leave, naturally, everything must be clearly separated. Me for A. The marital property was given to Sophia. But I won't give her anything of the inheritance. I didn't expect the first thing the lawyer said after meeting me. Mr. James, you are currently unmarried. The lawyer showed me the results of the official inspection. I checked repeatedly before I realized. In the legal sense, I never got married. That is, the so-called marriage between Sophia and I for the past 6 years doesn't exist. I just remembered. When I first received my certificate, Sophia said she forgot her ID. I was helping her find it on the way home. Got a call from her saying she had the ID on her. Wait until I get there. The marriage certificate will be completed. She said she met someone she knew. No, I don't have to come back. After seeing the marriage certificate, I didn't think much. Later, she kept the marriage certificate. I never touched. It turns out that the marriage certificate was forged. Learning the news, I have mixed feelings in my heart. Thinking of how simple my wedding to Sophia was. No family or friends attended. Just had a meal at a small restaurant. I've always felt guilty for her about it. So I worked harder to make money and wanted to make up for her. That's why we had today's 6th wedding anniversary banquet. Now I want to come. The wedding was so crude because it was a fake wedding. For 6 years, I have been living in deception. It would be a lie to say that it is not sad, but more of a blessing. Fortunately, I stopped losses in time. The most difficult thing between Sophia and I today is our daughter Linda. We got married in a flash because she was pregnant. For the convenience of taking care of my daughter, I quit my stable and promising job. Working odd jobs to make money. Every time my daughter gets sick, I asked Sophia for money. She would accuse me of not taking good care of me. A husband who is not as good as a colleague. I also privately told my daughter that I was a bloodsucker in the family. If you don't make money, you'll only spend her money. I feel wronged but can only endure it silently. Thinking that when my daughter grows up, she will understand what I have done. Now that Sophia and I have a broken relationship, the daughter is innocent. I wish she could live with me. The next day, my daughter had a holiday. I came to the school gate early in the morning to wait for her. My daughter was carrying the school bag I bought for her. Jumping behind the teacher. Looked around. Seems to be looking for someone. I walked forward with a smile and called out, Linda. Daddy's here. But my daughter just looked up at me. Did not respond to. Continue to search among the crowd. I thought she didn't see me. Then she approached her and called her Linda. But my daughter suddenly pointed at me and shouted in disgust. Uncle! You're not my father. Don't call my name. I froze for a moment. How can your own daughter not know me? Before I could speak, I saw my daughter's eyes shining. She rushed into a man's arms happily and said, Dad! You're finally here. I turned around and suddenly froze. That man turned out to be David. David looked at me proudly. Pick up my daughter and laugh. Don't pretend to be a child. Or I'll think you're trying to kidnap my daughter. The daughter hugged his neck affectionately. Made a face at me and said, Poof. Dad, ignore him. Let's go. Then they swaggered past me. Parents around me pointed at me, discussed animatedly, suspecting that I am a human trafficker. I chased after him reluctantly. Saw David carrying his daughter towards an Audi. Sophia was sitting by the car window in the car. She glared at me coldly and put on a smiling face to welcome her daughter. The three of them seemed happy. Get in the car and drive away. Through the car window, I saw my daughter's bright eyes looking at David, full of admiration. Linda got in a new car. That's great. Sophia used to instill money worship in her daughter behind my back. Let her play with the rich classmates in class. I found out and stopped it, but she scolded me for being useless. A lifelong loser. My daughter also accused me. Said it was because I made less. She has no face in class. In their eyes, perhaps only men who can bring them a better life are worthy of respect. I turned around helplessly. Get into the top-rated Rolls-Royce on the roadside. Now that my daughter has chosen a new father, I will stop pestering you. I just hope she won't regret it in the future. To celebrate me taking over the company of the James family. The family spends millions to hold a fireworks show in New York's busiest area. I came to the VIP viewing area and sat down. A familiar voice came from behind him. Linda. Let Uncle David hold you. Mom takes photos and sends them to a circle of friends. Looking back, it was Sophia. She's looking for an angle to take a photo. Daughter is held by David. The two whispered face to face. Uncle. I didn't call him Dad today. You promised to buy me a limited edition Barbie doll set. Don't forget. Linda, be good. Uncle has already prepared it for you. My daughter has never been so enthusiastic about me. And kissed David excitedly. At the same time, my mobile phone vibrated. Opened it. Sophia posted it on her circle of friends. In the photo, she is close to David and her daughter. The background is dazzling fireworks in the sky. The accompanying text is that when looking for a man, you should find someone with strength. He also showed off in the comments section that David took them to make an appointment to the front row to watch the fireworks show. I looked at the empty space around me. They had a chance to sit in the VIP table. Unfortunately, this is no longer possible. I liked Sophia's circle of friends. Immediately after, I received a notice from her to untie the consumption card. The corners of my mouth twitched. There is no emotion in my heart. The next 3 days. Sophia hasn't even contacted me. In the evening, my assistant arranged for me to have dinner with some powerful New York people. Before entering the hotel, assistant answers the phone. So I walked into the hall first. Unexpectedly, I saw Sophia again. Daughter and David. They sit on table. There is also a table of guests toasting around. Mr. David. Congratulations on your successful interview. Became the marketing manager of the James family company. You must take more care of your little brother in the future. Others also raised their glasses. Flattery to David. I realized. This is David's promotion party. Sophia and her daughter accompanied her as relatives and friends. Small world. Going around. David, a returnee doctor, actually joined my company. I didn't want to get involved with them. Planned to leave silently. But my daughter suddenly opened her mouth and shouted. Mom! Dad followed us. Sophia stood up immediately. He said with a mocking expression, James. You don't have backbone. Without contacting me for 3 days? How? Now that you are too hungry to eat, you come to beg me. I responded calmly. I passed. You will continue. Sophia said with a trace of displeasure in her eyes. Your pockets are cleaner than your face. His ambition is not diminished. Transfer you 200. Leave now. Don't be an eyesore. I used to ask her for money. She always puts it off for days. I don't want it this time. Instead, she offered it to me. I was a little confused for a moment. I was just gonna say no. David stood up and said, Mr. James. Already here. Let's eat together. I heard you're short of money recently. The wine here. I'll give you 1,000 yuan for each bottle. How about? David's tone was soft. The people at the table also looked at me gloating. I asked me in amusement, why do you still work when you are so rich? Why don't you give the manager position to someone else? David shook his head. Said disdainfully, my job isn't your place to worry about. A word. Do you drink it or not? My daughter pointed at me in a childish voice and said, "Drink quickly. 1,000 yuan for a bottle of wine. Drink more bottles. You can buy me a famous brand school bag. My classmates all have." Sophia also said coldly, "James, your face is worthless. How much do you make in a month doing those odd jobs? Drink." I smiled and said, "You guys are not worthy of me drinking it." Sophia glared. He slapped the table and shouted, "James, are you done making trouble? Do you know? Say that as you are. How ridiculous. Now I'll let you drink. If you don't drink, let's get a divorce." She raised her chin as if she was sure I would rush over to apologize and make peace. After all, I used to be most afraid of her asking for a divorce. But now I'm not what I used to be. I sneered and said, "Sophia, we weren't even married. Why talk about divorce?" Sophia's face changed instantly. The voice said in a panic, You know." I interrupted. "Break up." David took the opportunity to interrupt. "James, you were the one who said it was breaking up. Now that you're not related to Sophia anymore, then you have no qualifications to stand here. Security. Throw this beggar out of here." For a moment, security guards quickly gathered around. Sophia's face changed slightly. But he still looked at me coldly and said, "James, see that? This is the gap between people. Now, just apologize to me." At this time, Assistant Lou rushed over. Seeing me surrounded, his face changed and he shouted, "Stop. Let me see who dares to talk to Mr. James disrespected." The audience suddenly quieted down. Sophia looked at me in disbelief. Assistant Lou walked quickly to me and asked, "Mr. James, are you all right?" David came back to his senses. "Keep an eye on Assistant Lou." Uncertainly asked President Lou, "Who did you say he was just now?" Assistant Lou said with a cold face that this is the new successor of the James family's group. "James." "What?" "Mr. James. The people present, including David. They are all internal employees of the James family company." They looked at me in unison. The James family had already announced my return. They've all heard about it. But now their faces were full of shock. It seems hard to believe that I am their future boss. Sophia's expression changed. Said to me coldly, "James, don't play tricks here. You're just an orphan with no father or mother. How could he be the young master of the James family? Don't be fooled by him. James must have hired this woman to act." Sophia pointed to Assistant Lou. Said lightly, "Little girl, you are so young. It's not good to do something. You have to help this piece of trash lie." "Shut up," Assistant Lou scolded her coldly. Then he asked me for instructions. "Mr. James, these people are eating the James family's food. But I offend you so much. I don't think they need to stay in the James family's company anymore. Help!" Voice just fell. The bodyguards outside rushed in one after another. They wore black uniforms. Tall and burly. In an instant, the atmosphere became tense. Sophia's face instantly turned pale. Eyes full of unbelievable panic. Muttering to himself, "How? What's going on? Maybe it's because there are more and more people." Daughter Linda was so scared that she burst into tears. Sophia saw this. Hurriedly picked up her daughter. Staring me hard. Until now. Doesn't she recognize the situation yet? Fine. Looking at my daughter crying and panting. I don't want to make it too ugly. With my current status, it's easy to make them pay. But I don't think I need to do that. Just respect their choices. I lightly asked Assistant Lou to let them out. Finished. So I quietly walked out of the crowd and headed for the box. Soon everyone in the hall dispersed. Assistant Lou followed. Ask Mr. James. Should I fire David? He hasn't officially joined the job yet. I can handle. I replied calmly. No. Assessment according to normal employment standards. Stay if you meet the requirements. If you don't match, you leave. I just took over as CEO of the James family. I don't want to use these methods based on my identity from the beginning. Besides, they and I are already from different worlds. As for Sophia, seeing today's scene, she will probably regret it. But she caused all this by herself. I was on my way back to the villa after the social meeting. Sure enough, I received a call from Sophia. I thought she would apologize and make peace. But what she said next made me frown. James, You disappoint me. I didn't expect you to do it for money. How dare you become another woman's mistress? I never thought you were like this. I still felt a little guilty for you. I planned to pay you for living expenses after dinner. But now you're just fooling around all your life. Never come back for money. My daughter and I own the house. Sophia's cold words made me feel helpless. In fact, the house she lives in now was bought by me working hard to earn money. When I first applied for the property ownership certificate, Sophia only wrote her own name. The reason is that you cannot be allowed to slack off. This house is just temporary. My daughter and I will live in a mansion from now on. You must always maintain the motivation to make money. So you can't write your name on this house. And I was thinking, she's my wife anyway. It doesn't matter if I write my name or not. Unexpectedly, now she takes it for granted that the house is hers. I'm not even qualified to go back. Fortunately, I am different now. She wants. Then give it to her. LL, do it your way. Leave the house to you. As child support. Sophia was stunned by my calm answer. After a while, she then asked, James, you don't want anything. On. I heard Sophia's breathing become rapid on the other end of the phone. She was obviously very angry. After a while, she squeezed out a word of good. Don't regret it. Then he hung up the phone. I shook my head helplessly. Sophia used to hold me tight. So even if I leave, she also thinks I'm just throwing a tantrum. But she doesn't know. People change. That night, Sophia posted another message on her circle of friends. Show out a luxury watch. The watch of that brand and model is a limited edition. There are only 3 places in the European region. There is only one in the country. And this one is on my hand. No doubt. The piece on Sophia's hand is a fake. Sophia still shouted in the comment area. James couldn't make money to buy me this watch in 10 lifetimes. David gave it to me. The gap between people is really too big. I directly blocked her news. I can't be bothered to watch anymore. At this time, my mobile phone received a request to add a friend. Open your circle of friends after passing. Turns out it was David. He said nothing. Sent me 3 photos directly. The background of the photo is my former home. David was lying on the sofa. Sophia stood in front of him holding fruit. The other 2 photos are. One is a photo of the 3 of them. There's also one of my daughter riding on David's neck. The 3 of them laughed very brightly. Married 6 years. Sophia never took the initiative to cut fruit for me. I always took good care of her. Facing David. But she took the initiative to become a good wife and mother. I want to hold my daughter and ride on my head and play games. Sophia would scold me mercilessly. What if I drop Linda? You're not a good father at all. But David did this. But she didn't think there was any problem. I know David sent the photo to provoke me. But I didn't respond. He just forwarded the photo to Assistant Lou with his backhand. Assistant Lou replied with an understanding. I don't know exactly what he understood. But she knew all the tricks David pulled in my marriage. I must use professional methods to teach David a lesson. For the next 2 days, I devoted myself to my work. The elders in the family treat me very well. Tell me not to rush. Learn step by step. There is still a long time to come. I've always worked hard on my own. For the first time, I felt the warmth and help of my family. This day, I've been reading documents in the company office all morning. Just about to relax. Sophia's phone came in suddenly. Soon as the call was connected, it was her cold questioning. James, did you tell that little bitch to transfer David to cleaning? I was stunned at first. Then I found it funny. Assistant Lou is really good at observing people's expressions to sit in this position. He knew I wanted to punish David. So he deliberately made excuses to transfer him to the cleaning department. However, the manager position was still retained. I leaned back easily in the boss's chair and replied. It does have something to do with me. How? You have to plead for him. Sophia replied angrily. You are such a bad guy. She hung up the phone. This phone call confused me. Are you here to scold me? I don't understand her. That night, I was driving a Rolls-Royce out of the company parking lot. A figure suddenly rushed out. I was shocked. Quickly step on the brake. Make sure you didn't hit anyone. That person walked over slowly. I took a closer look. So it's Sophia. Sophia stared straight at me. His face was full of disbelief and amazement. James. It's really you. She didn't recognize me when she stopped the car. Sophia was stunned for a few seconds, walking quickly to the car window and looking at me. You. Are you really the young man who just got back from the James family group? They bought this car for you. Her voice trembled. His face showed complex emotions of surprise and sadness. Why didn't you tell me? I'm your wife. When she met my cold eyes, Sophia suddenly couldn't help but burst into tears and said, James. That's not who you are. You swore. If I could get rich one day, I would definitely not abandon my daughter and me. How did you become like this? I hate it even more when I see her making accusations. Who embarrassed me in public at the banquet I carefully planned? Give David face, and now you blame me for changing. What about herself? I said patiently, Sophia. There is only deception between you and me. There is no marriage. You have the house. You're on your own. With my current status, it's easy to get back at you. But I don't want to do this. But I followed you for 6 years. James. I was wrong last time. I apologize. I'm your wife. Why do you have to be so careful? Sophia's words made me lose my patience completely. I pushed her hand away from the window, stepped on the accelerator. The car sped away. Sophia chased after him anxiously. After running a few steps, he fell to the ground in confusion. She collapsed and covered her face and burst into tears. The car was halfway there. I got a call from the housekeeper saying he wanted to take me to meet someone. I came to the appointed restaurant. Find the corresponding location. I saw a fair and beautiful woman with big wavy hair sitting there. Before I could say anything, the woman noticed me. Smile and say hello. James. You're here. I have some doubts. There is no such character in my memory. The beauty generously introduced herself to my name Mia. She is an old friend of the James family and the daughter of the Mia family. I heard that the James family father you've never met before. He once ordered us a baby kiss. I came back from abroad this time just to fulfill my engagement with you. I was suddenly a little embarrassed. Although I have crossed classes now. But facing such a beautiful woman in front of me is still a little uncomfortable. Do you accept family marriage? I asked curiously. In my impression, rich girls usually like poor boys. Not very willing to accept this kind of transactional marriage. Mia smiled and raised her eyebrows. Absolutely accept. The marriage between both the James and Mia families will have a stronger business. How? You don't like my... I quickly shook my head and said, how could I not fancy a beautiful woman like you? What man wouldn't like it? Just... Sorry. Ms. Mia. I still believe in true love. I hope the woman I marry is the person I truly love. Even if you've been deceived by a woman like Sophia for 6 years. I still haven't given up on the pursuit of true love. Mia looked at me in surprise. There is a trace of exploration and interest in my eyes. He smiled and said, then we can try dating first. Before I could respond, suddenly there was a cry calling for Dad from beside him. Dad, don't abandon me and Mom. My daughter Linda ran towards me crying. Tears filled his little face. Wept bitterly. Dad. Don't like this bad woman. Linda wants her father. Then Sophia followed. Her eyes fell on Mia and me. The flames of anger burned in his eyes. She came over aggressively in high heels. Swear sovereignty to Mia with his chin raised. James is my man. Know what's good for. Leave now. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. I was trying to stop Sophia. Mia smiled meaningfully. Why are you so rude to me? Sophia suddenly choked. A solemn look flashed across his face. Just as she raised her hand to hit Mia, Mia swung backhand. Sophia was knocked straight to the ground. Red fingerprints were left on his face. You vixen. Still dare to hit me. Sophia got up and jumped at it. At this time, several bodyguards appeared from nowhere, overpowering her in an instant. Daughter Linda saw this, crying and pouncing on the bodyguard, waving their little fists and crying, let go of my mother. Dad, please save Mom quickly. I frowned. Looking at Sophia being pressed to the ground, her heart was filled with mixed emotions. Mia seems to read my mind. Let her go lightly. After Sophia was released, tears flowed uncontrollably. She looked at me wronged and said, James, you let people bully your wife like this. Are you still a man? And you, Vixen. James and I are married. We have a daughter. You can't find any man. Why do you have to steal my husband? Mia sneered and said. Sophia, right? You are so cheeky. You and James were never married. What kind of wife is she? James and I are the legitimate couple in the family. Today is just a small lesson for you. Next time, I won't hold back. Finished. She looked at me. Coquettishly said to my fiancé. Can we let them go now? Everyone is hungry. I nodded. Didn't watch Sophia. Signaled the bodyguard to take her and her daughter away. Next time for dinner. Mia stopped mentioning Sophia. Just talk to me about the next arrangements. She wants to date me. Cultivate feelings. She also said. If I still don't like her in 3 months, she'll quit. Mia has said so much. I naturally have no reason to refuse. Readily agreed. I originally thought there would be a lot of difficulties with a rich girl like Mia. But I didn't expect us to have such a pleasant chat. She is more patient than Sophia. She always smiles and listens when I speak. Even if I mentioned something I had never seen before. She didn't mean to look down on it at all. Instead, he enthusiastically said that it would be just for the next date. Let me take you to experience it. If it's Sophia. I'm afraid I'll be hit many times during this meal. All in all, I have a good impression of Mia. We went for a walk after dinner. Talk about their previous experiences. In the past, when I was with Sophia, I couldn't imagine such a scene. Because Sophia doesn't like to go out with me. I drove Mia home after the date. Then returned to your villa. Because I'm not used to having too many servants at home. I asked them to work according to normal commuting hours. So now there is no one at home. I returned to my room. Just turned on the light. A figure suddenly rushed over. Her soft body pressed against me. A gentle and seductive voice came. Husband. I came to make amends to you. I couldn't react for a while. The woman kissed my lips. I soon came back to myself. Turns out it was Sophia. I pushed her away hard. Switch on the light with a snap. Sophia's body in her muslin pajamas was unobstructed. She looked at me affectionately. In the past, I would have been so excited. But now I only feel disgusted. Who let you in? I asked coldly with a frown. Sophia blushed slightly. Say softly, I say I am your wife. Show the security guard and servant our marriage certificate and living photos. And they let me in. James. Don't be angry. What happened between you and that vixen today? I don't even bother with you anymore. Look at such a big house. There must be a hostess. Aren't I the right person? She said as she approached me. I interrupted her coldly and said get lost. Sophia looked a little hurt. James. You can't do this to me. I told you to scram. The way you look right now makes me sick. I said ruthlessly. The arrogant Sophia could no longer stand my attitude. She put on her clothes. Ran out angrily. You can still vaguely hear her crying in pain. I used to want her to really care about me. Treats me as her man, her husband. But Sophia was always cold to me. Now I don't need her anymore. But she stuck it over. What's the point? The next few days I was busy at work and with Mia. Sophia did not bother again. David was fired by Assistant Lou after working in the cleaning department for a few days. I heard he was still scolding me at the company when he left. And ended up sending himself to the police station. I can't help but sigh. I mean, this is what you deserve. I just finished a meeting today. Assistant Lou ran over to me anxiously and said, Mr. James. Sophia is spreading rumors and smearing you on the internet. Now many people think you abandoned your wife and daughter. He's a scumbag. Still protesting near the company. Half of the James family's businesses are related to women. They heard online that you were rich and abandoned your poor wife. Everyone cursed you. Relevant stores were also smashed and caused trouble. Then Assistant Lou opened Sophia's live broadcast room and showed it to me. Sophia cried until her eyes turned red. I am complaining to netizens. James and I were married for 6 years. And a daughter. Now that he has money, he doesn't want us. And hooked up with other women. Said. She held up her phone to show people a photo of Mia and I walking together. Netizens were indignant. They insulted me. Assistant Lou was extremely angry. Said he had contacted the public relations team and lawyers. Make these rumors pay the price. But I was extremely calm. Call Sophia directly. Before I can speak, Sophia interrupted me first. Said proudly, James, see what happens to abandoning your wife and daughter? Even if you are rich and powerful now, I can still destroy you. Now I don't want to hear your explanation. I only ask for a resumption of marriage. I don't care about the money. All we care about is that our daughter can have a complete home. I sneered and said, Sophia, you have to make this happen, do you? Yeah. James, you let me down first, Sophia said through gritted teeth. I'm too lazy to argue with her about right and wrong. Just saying I hope you don't regret it. After saying that, I hung up the phone. After all, I have been in love for 6 years. I still gave her a chance. But she doesn't know how to cherish it. Then don't blame me for being ruthless. The next day, the internet was flooded with reverses of things. Sophia and I are not married. She cheated the marriage first. My daughter is not related to me by blood. Sophia has been deceiving me to work hard to support them all these years, and I have been working hard at the bottom of the world to make money for the past 6 years. Suffered humiliation. Even went to the streets to sing to treat Sophia's illness. The experience of being forced to kneel in public was also revealed. It only took almost half a day. People all over the internet who scolded me turned to criticize Sophia. Sophia was scolded so that she hid at home and did not dare to go out. I lost my job. Some netizens found out. I bought the house Sophia lives in. And now she lives with David. David's state banquet took over my anniversary banquet. Sophia also forced me to sing for them in public. One incident after another was exposed online. After the public relations team deliberately guided public opinion, I suddenly became a role model for the new good man of the 21st century. And inexplicably gained many fans. As for her daughter's background, it was after Sophia brought her daughter to hinder my first meeting with Mia. I sent someone to investigate. While walking that night, Mia made a casual joke and said that her daughter looked like her father. Your daughter doesn't have half of your beauty. I didn't care at the time. Later, the more I thought about it, the more I felt something was wrong. An investigation really discovered the truth. Until that moment, my attitude towards Sophia completely turned into disgust. As public opinion continues to ferment online, Sophia called me in tears. Apologized to me. David made me do this. He said you lost his job. And banned him in the industry. He gave me this idea. James, forgive me. I'm really sorry. I've seen everything online these days. You've been really nice to me over the years. I don't know how to cherish. I didn't realize until now how wrong I was. I interrupted her directly. Sophia, Linda is David's child, right? Sophia was silent for a long time. A faint hum. His sentence. I don't want to hear anymore. Directly hung up the phone. The following days, the online turmoil has temporarily subsided. I also returned to a peaceful life. I didn't expect the reversal of public opinion last time. Accidentally brought huge profits to the James family group. The brand image of the group is also closely tied to me. I never saw Sophia again. Instead, my relationship with Mia is getting closer and closer. 3 months passed quickly. Mia proposed to me. I no longer hesitate. Readily agreed. Mia directly dragged me to get my license. After receiving the certificate, holding the red marriage certificate in his hand, I finally feel at ease. This time it's no longer a lie. When I left holding Mia's hand, from the corner of my eye, I caught sight of 2 figures standing at the gate. Sophia and her daughter. They looked tired. Looking at me with red eyes. I didn't turn back. The 6-year-old lie has finally become a thing of the past. I won't have any nostalgia anymore. I will move forward firmly into the future with my head held high.